Ladies, what relationship red flag did your mother point out that you dismissed until experiencing it firsthand? I had always rolled my eyes at my mom's dating advice. She'd analyze every guy I brought home like she was auditioning them for a background role in my life movie. So when I met Charles in the weirdest way possible, I was already prepared to ignore whatever insight she'd inevitably share. I met him last December when my flight got canceled due to a freak snowstorm. We were both stuck at this tiny regional airport in Wisconsin with about 30 other people and limited food options. While everyone was either furiously typing on their phones or staring blankly at the departures board, Charles started organizing an impromptu charades game. Soon he had half the stranded passengers laughing and actually enjoying this disaster of a day. I was impressed by how he could turn a crappy situation into something fun. We exchanged Instagrams before finally catching our respective flights, and started messaging almost immediately. Turned out he lived only 40 minutes from me. By our third date, I was already feeling that dangerous, this one's different vibe. About 2 months in, my mom came to visit for the weekend. Charles insisted on cooking dinner for us at my apartment. He made his famous salmon with lemon dill sauce and brought expensive wine. The evening was going well until he slightly overcooked the salmon. It wasn't even that bad, just a bit too dry. But I noticed how quickly he blamed my stove. "These electric burners are so unpredictable compared to gas," he said. Later, when he knocked over a wine glass, he immediately commented on how weirdly designed my glassware was. After he left, Mom helped me clean up. I was waiting for her to gush about how charming and handsome he was, because he genuinely was both. But instead, she said, "Honey, he seems nice, but did you notice he couldn't just admit he messed up the salmon? Or that he knocked over his glass because he was gesturing too wildly?" I immediately went defensive. "Mom, seriously? That's what you're focusing on? He spent 3 hours cooking for us and all you noticed was that he blamed my crappy stove." She just gave me that irritating mom look and said, "People who can't take responsibility for small things won't take responsibility for big things either. Just keep an eye on that." I brushed it off as her being overprotective. Charles was thoughtful, made me laugh, and seemed genuinely interested in my life. Who cares if he occasionally deflected blame for minor stuff? For a while, things were amazing. He'd surprise me with little gifts, just because, and always made time for me despite his busy schedule. But around the 4-month mark, I started noticing what Mom had pointed out. When he was 30 minutes late to meet my friends, it was because traffic was insane. It wasn't. When he forgot plans we'd made, it was because I hadn't reminded him, or work was crazy. When he lost his fantasy football league, his friends had set unfair rules. But I kept telling myself everyone has flaws, and this one seemed minor compared to his many good qualities. The first real crack appeared when we took a weekend trip to a lakeside cabin. The rental listing clearly stated check-in was at 3 p.m., but Charles insisted we could arrive earlier. When we got there at noon and couldn't get in, he called the property manager and complained about the misleading description. I pulled up the listing on my phone while he was still on the call and showed him the check-in time. Instead of acknowledging his mistake, he muted the call and whispered, "I know, but maybe they'll let us in early if I push a little." They didn't. We spent 3 hours at a nearby diner where Charles continued to rant about the ridiculous policies and how the property manager was on a power trip. I felt increasingly uncomfortable as I watched him turn his own mistake into someone else's fault. That night, after a few glasses of wine, I decided to gently bring it up. I said something like, "Hey, I noticed you get pretty frustrated when things don't go as planned. Earlier today with the check-in time," he cut me off. "Are you seriously criticizing me right now? I was just trying to maximize our vacation time. Most places are flexible about check-in. This place is obviously run by control freaks." I was taken aback by his response and how quickly he got defensive. For the rest of the trip, there was this weird tension between us, and I found myself second-guessing whether I should have said anything at all. When I got home, I called Mom and reluctantly mentioned what happened. Before I even finished, she sighed and said, "Let me guess, he couldn't just say, 'Oops, my bad,' and move on?" That conversation has been replaying in my head for the past week. Yesterday, Charles texted that his car broke down because the mechanic didn't tighten something properly during his last oil change 2 months ago. Something about this explanation felt off, and I found myself wondering what else he might blame on others when things go wrong.